With Excel as data source, Word as a template, we can do mail merge in Power Automate and outputting to either a Word document or a PDF document. Let me show you how easy it is. So I prepared some data for this lesson. You can download it in the link in the description below. The folder is called Data, and in here I have an input subfolder. Let me open it. Here I have the Excel data. That is the customer data that I want to fill in the template. Let me open the Excel book. This sheet is called Customers, and as you can see, I want for each one of these customers, I want to fill in my template. For the first column, we have first name, then we have last name, company, email, address, postal code, and city. Let us format it as a table so Power Automate can read it. Press Ctrl, Shift, right arrow on your keyboard and press down arrow. Then we have marked this range. You can also do it with the mouse. Then you press Ctrl+T on your keyboard. Tell that your table has headers, that is this row up here, and I'll click OK. We have formatted as a table, either with this range selected or if you clicked anywhere in it. You go up and click Table Designs, and over here we can see that the table name is Table 1. Let's rename it. That's best practice, so we can easily find it in Power Automate. Today we will only have one Excel table, but we could have more. I also saved it up here and I close it down. We are done with that Excel book. Then we open the template. It's called Welcome Letter, and let me drag it in here. The first thing we do, let me maximize it here, is that I have no developer tab up here. If you also missed that, then we need to enable it. If you have it, stay tuned for 30 seconds, because we are going to click the file, we're going to click the options, customize ribbon, and over here to the right, scroll a little bit down, make a tick in developer and click OK. You will see the developer up here. Now you need to click the developer, and here in this Word document, you can see we have placeholders. We have placeholders for first name, last name, company, email, address, postal code, and city. We just need to mark the first name placeholder. And here my placeholders has these two curly brackets in the start and in the end. That's not necessary. I prefer it so I can easily see that these are placeholders. You click this AA up here. Make sure it's the plain text content control. And also click Properties. We will call this one First Name. This will be the name that shows up in Power Automate. And this first name here with the curly brackets, that will be the hint. It will make much more sense when we get there. I do the same thing for each one of the other placeholders. Please do this with me. The video is designed for you to stop or rewind it if things goes too fast. You will learn much faster if you do this with me. So here I say company and email. And yes, this Word template is pretty simple, but you can easily just do much more advanced templates. You just need to remember these placeholders. So this one was the address here. I have the postal code. Let me just make sure that here. And then we need the city here. That will be the last one. So with that said, we can save the document. If you don't have autosave on, we don't need this template anymore. What we do, we need to upload it to a place where Power Automate can read. Let me go back to the data folder, because we also want to have an output folder. So in here, I right click, I'll say new folder, and here I'll say output. Today we will generate output in both Word and PDF format. So let's go in here, right click, make a subfolder called Word, and make a subfolder called PDF. I like to keep things organized. Now we're done here, and we want to move this data folder, that's also this one here, from my desktop. I can press Ctrl+X to cut it, and then I go to a place that my Power Automate can read Here it's my OneDrive. It could also be SharePoint, Dropbox box, or anything that Power Automate can connect to in the cloud. Here let's make a folder. I'll right click, new, and let's call this live. Then I double click in here and I press Ctrl+V. You will see that this is syncing. Now we can go to Power Automate and the status is V here. It goes pretty fast. So I can minimize this and go to Power Automate and finish the rest of this automation, because now the smart thing comes. Imagine that we get this customer data in our folder every week. We can create a flow in Power Automate that each time a new Excel book with customer data is added to a folder, then we want this mail merge to run. It looks like this. So I click create over here to the left, and in case you can't find Power Automate, you need to go to powerautomate.com and log in with your Microsoft account. Let's pick Instant Cloudflow first. I know I promised you to schedule this with a trigger, but let's do it one step at a time. Create it manually first, and then we will add the trigger. So here I can call this mail merge demo, and then I'll click create. So we need to read the Excel data. We do that to afterwards iterate through each row in that Excel. So I click new step, and then I'll say list rows present in a table. I'll pick that one. And then the location, that will be OneDrive for Business here. The document library, that will be OneDrive. And the file, then I just need to find it. Remember, we created a subfolder called live. I'll go find that. It was in the data. It was in the input. And it's called customers. Then we can find a table that we created down here. It's called customers. Now we read it. We will use this output as input for an apply to each. So here I'll click new step. I'll search for apply to each, and apply to each, take a collection, here this Excel sheet of data, and take the row one by one and do something. Here we want to fill in the mail merge template. So I click in here, and then you'll see this dynamic content menu to the right. In case you don't see it, it will look like this. Just click here. Choose the value from this list row present in the table, and now we can do something with the data. Here I want to populate a Microsoft Word template, so I click add an action here. Here, if you search for populate a Microsoft Word template, often your action doesn't show up. You can see it's not showing up here, which is kind of weird. What you want to do is just to search for Word, go into the Word Online category, and here it is, populate a Microsoft Word template. Click that. Now I want to say the location is OneDrive for Business. The document library, that is OneDrive. And then I need to find my Word template. And again, it's up here in the live folder. So I simply just go in here, that was in input, and that's the welcome letter. Now this action will update. And here you can see all my placeholders. And now I just need to map them. And I need to say the last name, that is the last name from my Excel data. So I just do this. The first name, that is the first name. And then the company, that's the company. And yes, you know the drill. It's pretty straightforward to map these things. And now I need the postal code and city. And that's it. So right now we populated the template, then we need to save the file. So now we just populated. We need to tell where we want to save it. And here I'll choose add an action. Let's find a create file. I'll create mine in my OneDrive for Business. So I'll click here. So the unique path of the folder, that will be my output directory. So here, the root, I will go into live, data, output, and let's put it in the Word folder. The file name, I can choose a lot of names for this. It needs to be unique. It could be with a date prefix or a running number, or simply just have the first name, last name, .docx, cx. That will also be unique. Then we need to say what content does this file have, and that is the content, that's the output of this one up here. So I click here, and then I'll choose this Microsoft Word document. We can see it comes from the Populate a Microsoft Word template. This is all we need to fill in a Word template. First we do it for the Word document, and afterwards we want to do it for the PDF. So now I save here. I will click test, and yes, we do it manually. We can look at the trigger later. So here you need to be signed in to these 3 accounts, and then I'll click continue, run flow. This will take 1 to 2 minutes, so I will fast forward in this flow. That's it. We have completed the flow. It took like 2 minutes, but imagine that this runs at night, then it's no problem. Then I go to my folder here, and we go into the data. We go to output, and in Word we created these files. Here I could take, for example, David Lopez, and I will drag it in here, and we can see that we have filled in the template with all David's data. And yes, it will be the same for all these. Let's say that we want to generate PDF files instead. That might be the preference of some. And I go back to Power Automate. Then I'll click Edit, and here I'll click Add an Action, because now we also need to convert this Word document to a PDF. So again, here we can find a convert Word document to PDF. And here actually we can't find the Word one we are looking for. We can find the Adobe, but we again do search for the Word. We go into Word Online, and here you will find the convert Word document to PDF. And yes, that's a bit of a backdoor to find these actions. It works most of the days, and sometimes it don't. Just search for Word. So here the location, where's my Word document created. And remember, I do this for all these ones up here. So we have it in the OneDrive, the document library, that will be the OneDrive. Where are our Word document placed? Well, that is placed in this Word folder. And that is this folder up here, the output folder. So what I want to do here is simply just to say, I want to look in live data output Word for a Word document to convert. So I'll paste in this, and then I want to say /. As you can see, it disappears for the first time, and then we can type it. And then I want to say, I also want to look for the first name, last name, .docx. So I scroll down over here. I'll say first name. Yes, it disappeared again. We need to put it out there again. I need to say first name, last name, .docx, and then I need a / up here. And I need to do this a couple of times. And yes, it's quite annoying, but now it's there. So now we converted this to PDF. We also need to create the file like we did before. So here we need to say, we take this Word document and save it as a PDF. We do that with a create file, and since we already use a create file up here, let's go rename this. So I will do this, click these 3 dots, rename, I'll say create file Word, like this, and then we will have another create file here. Again, that is best practice to rename your actions, and we don't want 2 actions with the same name. So here I'll find a create file, and let's also rename this to create file PDF. Now we need a folder path. Where do we want to create the path in? We will go look in the live folder in the output. Now we want to save it to the PDF folder here. So the file name, We will call this one, and it comes from up here, so we will call this one again, first name, last name, and then we want to have the ending, PDF. What is the content? That comes from this convert Word document to PDF, and that will be here. That's it. Now I can click save. We just tested like we did before. And just to see that both of them work, I can delete these Word files in the folder. You don't have to do that, but I'll just make sure that they work together. And here, again, we can run the flow. So now I will fast forward 1 to 2 minutes. That's it. This time it took 3 minutes. Let's inspect the output. I go into my folder, and here I can see the new Word files still here. If I go one step back to the output, I can go into the PDF, and for example, I can pick John Brown. And now we have that as a nice PDF. We can also trigger our flow, so each time we add in an Excel file to our input folder, this flow can run. Let's delete the manually trigger our flow like this. And what you want to find is when a file is created here in OneDrive for Business, we'll take the input folder. So here I'll find the input folder. It's in live, data, input. Now, since this is dynamically created, the Excel files will have other names. And then we need to get the tables of this file up here. So I'll pick in the plus here, add an action. Here I'll find a get tables. And what we will do here is that the location is still in OneDrive and OneDrive here. And here, since we don't know the Excel file, we'll need to create an expression. We cannot use these. So here I'll go to expression, and I actually prepared an expression for this. This is rather advanced. You'll just pick this. I'll leave that in the comments below. So what you do here is you copy this one here, and then you go over here. You'll click OK. It will say it's not legal the first time. Then you'll do the first. And second, it will work. Then we go to list rows present in the table. And again, this file, this one will differ. So I'll delete this. I'll go to expression, paste this one in, and we have it here. The table will also be dynamic. I also created an expression for this. And in case you think this is very exciting to create these expressions, because you will need them when you become an advanced Power Automate developer, then this video up in the right corner is for you. But let's watch this together. So I go down here, I pick the expression here. It will fail, but when the second time we click OK, it's here. Now we will save it. And let's also see that this works. So I'll delete the PDF output folder. I'll also delete the Word one here. And then we can start the flow. We'll need to trigger the flow. So what I will do here is that, let me just have it over here and here. So what I want to do is to put let me also minimize this. So in my data, I have my input, this customers. Let us cut this out to my desktop. This is not OneDrive synchronized. And this trigger, the file needs to come outside of the OneDrive. So that's why I copy it to my desktop, which will not be synchronized. So what you will do here is that I can even give it another name here. I can, for example, call it customers 5. And it's also, wait and see here. So if I go test it here and let's click manually, then this flow will wait until we added a file to our input folder. So when I can even cut it out, just so we paste it here, then there will go some seconds, and then this flow will run and we will generate the file. Now we can see that our flow is running. In a few seconds we will start generate the first file. So if I go to my output folder, I can go into Word. Here we can see that the first Word documents are being generated, I can also go to the PDFs, and those ones are also generated. So now we created a trigger that runs dynamically. We can move Excel files with the data source for our template down in the folder, and this flow will run. Did you know that you can web scrape, automate applications? That's it. You can do UI automations in Power Automate. You will need to work with Power Automate Desktop, also free in Windows. I created a complete beginner's guide right here. I really think you should watch it. See you.